Theme parks, they're intended to be fun, thrilling, and the ideal day out. However, this isn't always the case nowadays. From terrible operations to budget cuts, there's many different things that makes the UK theme park scene not as enjoyable anymore. And today we're going to be discussing all about it. So if you do enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And let me know down in the comments, what do you think about the state of the UK theme park industry at the moment? And also make sure to stay tuned till the end of the video because we have some very exciting guests coming on. But yeah, let's take it back 15 years or so. It's the 2010s and theme parks are absolutely booming. You're seeing new additions such as the Swarm, the Smiler, you're seeing it on stuff like the In-Betweeners. Overall, the UK theme park industry was at a massive high. However, over time, it's just slowly declined in terms of operations, in terms of budget cuts, and also in terms of just stuff like food prices, really. And it's not just rides that make up theme parks, it's the whole package experience. So we're going to be going through it one by one and telling you what the worst parts of the UK theme parks are in that sector. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about here is the entry prices. Now then, back in the early days before I was even born to be honest, they used to have stuff such as free entry at Pleasure Beach and the prices were around £20 I think, something like that for a day ticket, which is a really good price to be honest, but obviously adjusted to inflation, it'd probably be around £28, something like that, I'm not entirely sure. But nowadays, you're seeing them charge £35, £40 and even on the gate £80 for one person. That is a lot of money. In terms of value for money though, I feel like it depends what park you go to. For example, Paulton's Park, it's £45 for admission, but the queues are low, the operations are great, and you'll get everything done you want to do in a single day. Whereas Alton Towers, for example, it's about £38 if you don't have any discounts on top. And it's just, you probably get on about 5 rides maximum in a day because everything's on like 45-minute queues, or at least over the summer periods anyway. The Merlin theme parks do have a set price of around £30 to £35 per park, which is not too bad, but for this summer they're actually doing twice the fun, which is you pay for one ticket and then you get another one for free. So you can, for example, if you go to Alton Towers, for example, you can spend the day there, and then you can also get a free ticket to either Alton Towers, Legoland, Chessington, or Thorpe Park, which is pretty cool. But deals like that does sort of make it worth it, but at the same time, you got to think food, petrol, accommodation. It starts to add up very quickly. And I do see a lot of people saying, oh, bring back free entry at Pleasure Beach and stuff like that. It wouldn't work logistically because with the free entry, there was a lot of like crime and other terrible issues that were going on in the park. So that's the reason why they made it one set price, because if you raise the price, there won't be that many people who just want to come in and cause disturbances. Some parts in the UK though still do have free admission, like Southport Pleasureland for example. I've seen nobody talking about it. It's actually a really nice, decent theme park. It's not too far away from me, so I should probably make a vlog from there soon to be honest. But they've got stuff like the Ghost Train, they've got a rumoured Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. Well, that was rumoured about 10 years ago, nothing's moved about that. But it just shows that the future's bright for that park, and stuff like that doesn't even get admired. People just look at Alton Towers and just think that's a waste of money, so they automatically assume that every single theme park is expensive, but it's really not if you just choose the right options. And it seems to be the case that the family-owned parks are more value for money. For example, like I was saying earlier, Paulton's Park, £45, but the operations are great, you'll get on everything you want to. And overall, stuff like even like food is quite a bit expensive. It's like things like £15 for a meal, but it's really high quality as opposed to the Merlin parks who have Aramark, and yeah, they serve prison food, so that tells you everything you need to know. But yeah, in terms of admission, I think it just really depends where you go. Even places like Pleasure Beach, they're about £30 to get in, but if you do book in advance, you do save quite a bit of money. I think like £28, for example, is a really good price for a theme park, because if you think about it, if you have to do pay per ride, something like the big one and Icon, for example, they'd be about £13, which is actually quite evident on the Flex Pass that they introduced. I think they put something like £14 for a ride on the big one, which is absolutely mad. You literally have to do 2 rides on the big one, and you may as well just buy a normal ticket. So yeah, I feel like the entry prices, they are a tiny bit steep, but for what you get, it's not too bad, and it also depends on what park you go to. I would suggest going to the more family-owned ones because they care about the parks. I'm not saying that Merlin don't care about the parks because they are getting big investments such as like the Minecraft roller coaster, but it's just more of a fact of it's more well upkept because it's like a family tradition sort of thing, so they really do care about it. Now then, we touched on this earlier, we're going to be talking about food prices now. This has been quite controversial in recent times for the UK theme parking industry because of one specific brand, Aramark. Now, if you don't know who Aramark are, they're basically a food company that were brought into the Merlin Park, specifically Alton Towers, because that's very noticeable there. And yeah, if you look at the track history, they make prison food. which is not great considering you want high quality food in a high quality theme park. And I think they charge something like £13 for a hot dog. Well, that's before Merlin Annual Pass discount. But yeah, it's just not great really, and the quality doesn't even make up for the price. Like for example, I had chicken and chips from Alton's House a couple of weeks ago. I think it was something like £12 after discount, and yeah, it was terrible. The the chicken was cold. It was also quite flimsy, and the chips were just stale. It wasn't great at all. And if you think about it, if you're going with more than two people and you're paying for them, it's gonna add up really quickly. Like I've seen some people spend about £300 on food a day at a park, which is absolutely stupid. So I would recommend if you are going to the theme parks to bring your own packed lunch if you're allowed. Places like Pleasure Beach don't allow it, but their food is usually quite cheap. Like for example, I always mention in my vlogs, the best thing to get at Pleasure Beach is the sausage roll because it's £2.50 and it's absolutely massive. But the Merlin parks you can take your own food into. I'm not too sure about other parks policies. I think Flamingo Land you can as well. So check for that when you go because it might save you a couple of pounds. We are going to drift off a little bit now because we're going to be talking about the use of AI in theme parks. Later in the video, you're going to hear from a bunch of different theme park content creators, and a lot of them do mention how AI is being used very wrongly. And I do agree with them. Take, for example, this Oblivion t shirt here. That is absolutely terrible. To be fair, when I went to do my merchandise tour, I did say it was a nice looking shirt, but I couldn't even tell it was AI because I was like glancing over that quickly. But if I looked at it properly, it's the wrong size car and it just looks absolutely terrible. They've done similar with like Stealth at Thorpe Park. It just looks absolutely terrible. It's not even a UK issue as well. It's more like even like Cedar Point have used it for a Steel Vengeance shirt. It's just not brilliant. Like you can tell it's obviously AI. And you think a multi-million-pound company would be able to hire like a graphic designer just to even make like a simple t-shirt. It's not that hard. They're also using it for marketing, and Pleasure Beach have been exposed for this in the past. For example, the Launchpad marketing that was heavily using AI, which is not great at all. I think they've even got AI on the logo and the app, which is quite bad. But yeah, if you can use it for the right reasons, like there is some good examples of using AI, for example, like writing descriptions for rides and stuff like that, or even sometimes doing like scripts for videos if you're a theme park content creator. But I would say add your own spin on it because it's very, you can tell when it's using AI. Like for me, I just go off the cuff with my videos. You can probably tell that, but it's just I just don't think AI is really necessary for UK theme parks. Yeah, it's on the rise. Yeah, it's a new thing that everybody wants to try, but you don't have to use it for that. Like you're literally getting rid of creative opportunities for something that can be done within 2 seconds. It's just pure laziness, really. The next area we're going to touch on is operations. Now then, this drastically varies on what parks you go to. Like I was saying earlier, Paulton's Park is the best for operations in the UK, apparently. I've not personally been, but that's what I've heard on the grapevine. Take, for example, the big one at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. It can run 3 trains at once, but sometimes they only run two, which is the main preferred option. But for some of the season, this season, for example, it's ran one train on a really hot day, and it got to queues of like 90 minutes and stuff like that. Yeah, they put an error on the ad the other day. It was 702 minutes, which is not brilliant. And then the speedy pass was 70 minutes, apparently. They did get that fixed quite quick, which is good. But yeah, just one train operations is not acceptable, especially when it's on offer that you can do too. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time to load it on, but it's worth it to cut down the queue times for people. Under operations as well, we're going to be talking about reliability because there's a lot of rides that aren't really reliable. For example, at Alton Towers, there used to be a lot of rides that wasn't able to run in the rain, like 13 Spinball Whizzer. Luckily, they have been fixed now, so it looks like they are trying to improve getting the rides open at Alton Towers because the ride availability this year has actually been quite good. In previous years, it's been absolutely awful. So it's nice to see that they're improving in that sense, but still, there's a long way to go if they want to be a perfect theme park and the ultimate family day out, as they try to market themselves as. The next thing we're going to touch on is operational hours. Now then, they used to be really bad, like post-COVID. They still are, but not as bad as they used to be. For example, Alton Towers, some days on like the really off-peak days, they open 10 till 4, which is definitely not enough time to get around the whole park considering it's very, very, very big. Places like Thorpe Park, which is owned by the same company, funnily enough, is open 10 till 5 pretty much every day, unless they do the stuff like Fright Nights, which is open till 9, I'm pretty sure. Stuff like that is really good. One of the best for opening hours actually is Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Yeah, they open 11 till 5 some days, but that's like the really, really off peak days. They do a lot of events like late night riding, the fireworks, Twilight Thrills, stuff like that. They've also got Journey to Hell and the Christmas events where they do open, and they also do February half term too. So they're open for quite a long time actually. So yeah, that's a real positive for it. But just in general, stuff like the 10 till 4 openings really needs to be sorted out. Anyway, that's enough of my opinion on the UK theme park industry at the moment. I'm going to hand over to some of the UK's biggest content creators for theme parks, and they're going to be talking about what their opinions are on what could be improved in UK theme parks.
Something that I don't like about UK theme parks is the inconsistency of single rider queues, right? I love when a coaster has a single rider queue because it means if I'm going alone or if there's parents who can't ride together, they can go up the single rider queue and usually get on quicker, which is fine because you're filling empty seats and you're going to be on your own. But what I don't like or understand is why isn't it consistent with every single ride? Like at Alton Towers, Oblivion will have a single rider queue. Smiler has a single rider queue, but Rita doesn't. Wicker Man doesn't. Nemesis doesn't. Why can they not work out a system where each ride has a single rider queue? That's what I don't like. Probably not your normal. Most people are probably going to go for food prices or food quality or something else. But I think single rider queues, I would like to see a single rider queue on every single major coaster, if possible. Also, to add on to that, why can't every ride or coaster have a dedicated front row queue? Nemesis used to have one, but it got taken away. If I want to choose to waste my time and spend a little extra to wait for the front row, let me do it. Just let me do it. There's no harm, is there? No harm. I've already waited 4 hours in the queue. If I want to wait another 4 hours just to go on the front row, it should be up to me, personally. But yeah, give every coaster a dedicated front row queue.
Coastertog does raise a good point here because he's talking about the Nemesis front row queue and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I didn't even realize that it was gone. I did notice it on opening day, but it sort of went out of my mind, and they've literally closed it off for a bit of theming, which is a bit stupid. So he does raise a good point there. And single rider queues are some of the best part about UK theme parks. For example, I usually travel alone sometimes to theme parks, and a single rider queue would be really beneficial in a place like Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Obviously, Alton Towers and Thorpe Park and stuff do it like that. And like Coastertog said, it's quite inconsistent. So I hope that in the future we do get single rider queues for all the major coasters at Alton Towers, Thorpe Park. I don't think Chessington and Legoland do single rider queues, unfortunately, but that is something they could implement in the future. So thank you, Coastertog, for sharing that with us. On to the next person.
Right, mate, I'll tell you what I don't like about UK theme parks right now. Yeah, the use of AI, not ideal. One thing that really grinds my gears is the downgrades at the Merlin parks. Have you seen Dragon Falls, now known as Tiger Rock? That dragon tunnel is now just a shed. Unacceptable. Anyway, there's plenty of things for me to whinge about, but it's just starting to rain over here, so talk about mise en scène. I'm going to have to sign off, but I could go on for hours on this.
Thank you, Sam Costello, for that very, very wet analysis. I hope you do get home safe and the rain doesn't get you too much. But yeah, I feel like the use of AI, like I touched on earlier, is really, really bad. But also, like you were saying, the downgrade of theming, like Tiger Rock, when I went on it the other week, it just looked really, really bad. Like the lift hill section, especially, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. But even like the tunnel, the smoke effects for the Tiger was not working, and even in the station, the projections weren't working either. So he does raise a really good point about that. So thank you very much, Sam Costello, for your input. And now on to the next person, which is Attractions Beyond.
I think that the worst thing currently about UK theme parks is the food. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of options, but the standard is nowhere near as good as parks in Europe or the US. Like if you compare Disney food and snacks, for example, with the food you get at the likes of like Alton Towers, it's on a completely different level. So yeah, it'd be great if UK parks started introducing themed snacks. I know they have started this. They've started trying this in some places, but it would be good to see this more consistently across UK parks. I think it would go down really well. But yeah, overall, food at UK parks is the biggest thing I don't like, and it feels like it's getting worse. I really hope it changes soon.
Definitely agree with Attractions Beyond here about the food because we don't have much themed food. We do get it usually around like the Halloween period with Fright Nights and Scarefest, but I think it should be a more year-round thing, like stuff to fit in with Nemesis, Galactica, even stuff like the Wicker Man, Bluey themed stuff. Even I don't know. Is that a bit of a stretch? I'm not too sure. But yeah, food is a massive factor of a theme park because you need it to survive. So he raises a really good point, and it's also just the fact of food prices. It's just absolutely insane. So thank you very much to Attractions Beyond for that input. And now on to Theme Park Mad.
I'm struggling to think of something on the spot, but a few small things, I guess, is one train operations on busy days, and a nerdy one would be assigned seating, 100% assigned seating on coasters where others enthusiasts know for a fact that they are better in a certain seat, but it's basically potluck on whether you get it or not.
One train operations is definitely one of the worst parts about Pleasure Beach, for example, because it's just you have the option to add more on there, which for some rides like the Big Dipper, obviously they can't do because I think they said something like if they wanted to get it back on two trains, they'd have to rip out the whole operation systems and update it, which cost a lot of money. So I understand for rides like the Big Dipper, but rides like the big one where it's literally the trains are available to use and they just be like, nah, I can't be bothered to use it. It's not great, but also assigned seating, yeah, it's definitely needed on some rides. I want to go back to the big one example again. That's a really good example of assigned seating because you can go and choose what row you want to go in, like front row queue for the big one. That's really good. Same with Icon really, because Icon is literally just you go into the station and you choose what row you want to go on. But stuff like Nemesis Reborn, they used to let you choose what row you wanted to go on, but now it's literally just you get in that row now. Yeah, they're sort of like that. I get it to speed up operations, but stuff like the front row queue, like this is actually linking to what Coastertog was saying earlier. It's just we need front row queues back on most of the rides. We also need more single rider queues, and we also need to let you choose your seats, even if it's just as far as oh you can choose the front row, which you can queue extra for. That's fine, but on stuff like Nemesis Reborn, it's just a look at the draw. Like I've not had front row on that in since opening day actually, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, thank you everybody for bringing in your submissions for what you do to improve UK theme parks. I do appreciate it a lot. Make sure to go and check out their channels. I know they're a lot bigger than mine. But yeah, regardless, thank you very much for your input. And thank you everybody for watching this video. If this has influenced you at all to sort of question about UK theme parks and the quality of them, don't be put off by this video, by the way. This isn't a hate video. It's just sort of what trying to get the voice of the public and also the enthusiast to try and get the parks to improve what they're lacking. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.